Hey everyone, my name is Seth. I write fantasy and science fiction under my pen name SB Sebrick. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about finding a mentor. This is an important step for just about every writer because much like choosing friends, the people that you're around the most will have the greatest influence on who you become, on what you prioritize, and how you run your career. So picking the right mentor to help guide you into becoming a professional author is one of the best and most important choices that you will make. First off, you want to figure out what kind of writing you want to do personally. I really like epic fantasy. I've been getting a little bit into science fiction. So a really bad fit for me might be someone who only writes romance. That's a completely different genre. One of the reasons why that won't work is because when you're looking for a mentor, someone to help boost your career, you have to remember that genres attract different types of people. An author that is trying to market to a romance audience is going to be able to use different tactics, different marketing approaches, different stories than a pure fantasy author is going to be able to use. So it's important as much as possible. Obviously there's a little bit of leeway because life's not perfect. If you happen to be best friends with a best-selling romance author and you want to write fiction, hang out with the romance author because you're going to learn stuff that's going to benefit you. But for the long haul, when you're looking for the mentor that can guide your career as a writer, the more similar they are to you, the best possible fit you can find, the better. Now, working with a mentor benefits greatly when you can find that face-to-face contact. Finding a mentor is something that I'd hesitate to outsource that to someone that I found on that does a chain of YouTube videos or someone that offers a product for me to continue to buy. When you can spend personal time with the mentor and learn about their life, about where they're coming from, and how they made the transition into professional publishing, there's a lot more to be gained from that as someone getting mentored than just signing up for a newsletter or a video or some kind of a product that someone keeps sending you. Now this can seem pretty intimidating at first, to find a mentor, to find a published author that you can talk to about your projects, about your marketing issues, about your readers, and about ways to try and keep moving things along. Some of the best places I've found, you'll start online, track some of the big names in publishing, see who they're working, who they're collaborating with in book bundles, look at what kind of conventions they're going to, what kind of live events, where they're doing book signings. That's where you'll start. I found some of the best mentors that I could find at writing conventions. If you just look up fiction writing convention or whatever genre you want to specify, romance writing convention, fantasy writing convention, just Google those and you'll get a list of conventions where writers just get together and talk about what works, what doesn't, what readers are looking for in that specific genre, things that sell, things that don't. It is a goldmine of information, but most importantly, it helps you to find that mentor. Now, when you're looking at possible mentors, you want to apply what I've heard called the 5-year rule. You want to find someone who's 5 years ahead of you in the career choice. Now, a lot of people, they insist, you go after the best-selling authors. They'll take someone that's got hundreds of thousands of sales and they will follow that person religiously and try to do everything that they do in order to become a better author. The problem with that is someone who's already 20 years down the road is doing things with their marketing and with their market share. They already have a mailing list that's tens of thousands of people long, so they have more flexibility in pushing their titles than someone does just starting out. So if you want to find someone who's within 5 years of where you want to be. For example, when I was first looking for a mentor, when I was just finishing my second novel, I met Mike Shepard, who also writes under the pen name Mike Moscow. He does science fiction, but wasn't quite the fantasy genre that I was used to, but he was able to give me a lot of great advice. He had already been going into, I think he was working on his 12th or 13th novel at the time. So he was about 5 years ahead of me and was able to give me some really good advice as to what he went through when he was just starting out and things that I can apply in my own life to, obviously, to get up to his level. If you try that with one of the best-selling authors that's been around for 35 years, you're going to get a startup story that was like, I submitted a short story to a magazine that is out of print, which was found by an editor who has now retired, and then I was purchased by a publishing company that went under and got bought out by Penguin Press 2 years ago. There's no networking help in there whatsoever. With a lot of writers that have been around that long, you kind of run into those problems. But someone that's only been in the market for 5 years, that's starting to get some momentum and starting to start to figure out how to make money at whatever genre you're aiming toward, that's the type of person you want to follow, because they're figuring out the marketing things that work in today's economy, and they're making it happen. Also, you'll want to try and make sure that that mentor that you find, if you're leaning towards traditional publishing, find a mentor that's in traditional publishing. They will have more networking connections and a better perspective on those issues than if you were a traditional writer trying to get help from a self-published author. Obviously, you want to try and keep those separate. If you're a self-published author, find a mentor who's also self-published, because they will have a gold mine of very empowering information to help you out. Assuming, and this applies for either mentor, traditional or self-publishing, you want to find someone who's pushing themselves to improve, who's looking for new ways to reach readers, who's trying new systems. The people in writing that just kind of coast, and they found what worked for that first novel, and they made a couple $1,000s, and therefore that's all they need to do. They're just going to write the next book and set it out there. That sometimes they will lose readers. They will not adapt when things change. For example, in the last few years, you may have noticed ebooks have become very popular. When they were first starting out, a lot of writers insisted that ebooks were just a fad and they were going to go away and they weren't going to be worth anything. So these writers, they only wrote in paper. And they insisted that paper was to stay, it was to stick around, and ebook was just a thing. And right now ebooks are making a lot of money, and if you're not publishing an ebook, you are losing potentially a lot of money. That's an example of a writer who just gets locked into one mindset and isn't willing to look outside it. You want to make sure when you find a mentor, you find someone that's willing to dig, that's willing to try new things, and then you benefit from that when they tell you what works and what doesn't and why. Lastly, you want to ask this mentor what they do to maintain the reader's attentions. How do they market to their readers? Particularly if this mentor is also in your genre, he's going to have an understanding about what readers in that genre are looking for and what they're going to emotionally react to. For example, if I was trying to market to hardcore science fiction writers, people who are going to open up textbooks on quantum physics to make sure that my version of how my teleporter works actually could work in the realm of quantum physics, those people are not going to be as interested in a picture of me with my pet cat. No, I don't have an actual pet cat. Just an example. But you see how those readers would be different. It's the same way as trying to interest a bunch of romance readers with a post about how quantum physics would work in a teleporter. It wouldn't work. Those are very stark examples, but even when you get to mystery versus science fiction versus romance versus thriller, all of those markets are a little different. So if you can find a mentor that's already building a rapport with writers in that genre, figure out what works and why. They can save you years of stumbling around in the dark if they can point you in the right direction. So I hope some of this helped. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you want us to get more videos. If you have any other questions and concerns, I'm happy to help. I try to answer within 24 hours. I hope you're all having a great day, and I will talk to you all later. Take care.